This particular scenario I'm going to give you is about a person that has bought gold before. They've had invested interest in gold for many years. They are also have heirlooms that they have in their house, and they also have traded, sold, bought, and they're not so, they're still just interested in it. They still think it's a part of their portfolio. They want to continuously use it. So we're going to start on that particular level based on what we did before, which was, let's talk about the complete novice. Now we're talking about somebody who's intermediate. They have some experience in buying precious metals. Okay, so I just wanted to give that baseline of where we're actually going to go. So my first question that I want to ask is, if I'm a novice and I want to continuously buy gold, I've been thinking about buying more gold. Are there some common things that I should in turn be aware of as an investor? Some of the things that I may not know is that sometimes the market is a little fickle because I've not really paid attention to the market much. Should I now look at more diverse things in the market to help me make better decisions in buying the types of gold that are out there in the market? Again, try not to be loaded.
Perhaps you could buy your wife or your husband more jewelry. That's a simple thing. The Indian culture is that gold is given at weddings, at
Good.
important things.
Birthdays, weddings.
Birthdays,
yes.
weddings, anniversaries, things like
yeah.
that.
That's a
Now
common
bear
thing.
in mind that their jewelry is just like our jewelry. Okay, I tell Andre a lot of times, if your grandmother liked it, it's not popular now. So, buy something that's nice, buy something that's heavy, that's jewelry. Now you also have to worry about security sometimes. If you're out, you don't want to flaunt it because things can be yanked off your arm or off your neck. So, but buy jewelry. That's an easy way to buy gold. Buy it as close to the melt value as you can, and oftentimes you can buy it very close to the melt value. If you wanted to do silver, we buy a lot of sterling flatware, silver pieces every year. I know Andre buys a lot, but we use the flatware. Now you may see us eating French fries and a hot dog with a sterling silver fork and a sterling knife.
All right.
But to us, it's pretty. It's if you have a set of it, yes, you have to keep it clean and you have to keep it polished. But it just lends a little air of sophistication sometimes in presentation of your food. So, and it's also sterling. It's also silver. So as the price of the value of silver rises, so is the value of your sterling silver. So those are some other options.
I want to throw in a little caveat from a health perspective. Silver is great for antibacterial and other health benefits.
Yes, it is.
Historically proven. England, the wealthy when the plague was running through, people that ate with silver, health-wise.
Oh, really?
So that's a little neat fact. I've had multiple sets throughout the years, and I've been the only one in my house using it. But I just used it because we had it. I said, why not? I've got people that buy a couple place settings just because they just want to have one or two place settings, just for them to use. And now they go out or they use it at their house. People, like you said, people look at you like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
It's got a cool novelty factor, but at the same time, people use it.
So my grandmother's heirlooms that she's had for many, many years, I don't really want that. I don't really think it fits with my decor. I'm the modernist guy that both my wife and I were kind of modern era.
Okay.
It really doesn't fit, even though it's gifted to the family. So what do I do with this?
Do you feel guilty for wanting to sell it?
Yes.
Don't.
Okay, so don't go ahead and get rid of it.
I mean, I get that a lot, so that's why I was
Right.
So people are afraid or feel guilty about getting rid of grandmother's things. Okay,
Right, of course.
it doesn't fit in our society now. We don't want to polish it. We don't really want to flaunt it. It requires that you have a dining room table with place settings, and we don't live like that. You probably do not live like that, and everyone under 40 probably does not live like
Right.
that. The dining room table is gone. The
The
place
dining
settings.
room is gone.
The dining room is gone.
The island, so the island is the biggest selling point
Yeah.
in the new home.
Oh, when you say island, the kitchen island.
Yeah,
The
the
kitchen
kitchen
island,
island,
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so there's a huge amount of it that's being melted and recycled. It's a recyclable commodity.
Okay.
That's all there is to it. And that
Melted.
doesn't damage anything other than, grandmother's silver is no longer in the form of knives, forks, and spoons.
Right.
Um,
So that's basically something I have to get over. If I'm melting it down, which
Yeah.
you're promoting an idea
Yeah.
of melting it down,
yeah.
I have to be okay with melting
Grandmother is melting it down. That was my follow-up.
it down. Oh,
So
They feel guilt. So grandmother is saying they're coming in and they're seeing me and they're saying my kids don't want it,
right.
so I'm going to do it.
yeah.
I might as well get the money
Interesting.
myself.
Okay.
And our culture has changed, and
Yeah.
the generation below me says, I don't want that.
Right.
That doesn't help me. I don't want it.
Right.
It costs real estate.
I don't
It
have the
costs-
space for it.
Yeah, it's been,
Yeah. A curio is not what I have in
Is
my
no,
area
no,
housing.
no,
Don't have it anymore.
no. And that's affected a lot of industries, and it has affected our industry too, not just in bullion and precious metals, but in the coin collecting side
Coin
of it.
collecting, okay.
Collecting of anything is greatly been reduced.
Let's bring that into that coin collecting. I was a kid that did it. I passed it on to my daughter, collecting coins. I think I still have a folder of quarters and 50-cent pieces, even $1 that's in there. What are the values cycle of that in today's market of just collecting coin? Is that something we call junk coin now, or is that something that I can actually use? I mean, my daughter now is 30, so we've done this a long time ago.
The coins that are based, the common coins that are based on silver value,
Right.
that's the junk coins you're talking about, pre-1965.
Right.
So, as far as collecting goes, that doesn't have. It's the difference between being a dentist and being someone who makes dentures or implants or crowns. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
If you don't know it, if you don't have an interest in it, don't do it because you're going to get stuck. You're just going to get stuck. If you do it for enjoyment, that's fine. If you're doing it for a return, that's probably not a good way to go.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because there was a point of enjoyment when you actually start collecting a quarter.
The
that
nostalgia.
was
Like,
yeah, the
like
nostalgia.
cards, comics.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
cards was a
Yeah.
big thing. I was a card collector,
I did.
so
Or
comic
comics,
books as
just
well.
like that.
Yeah, so
Or
there's
humble figurines.
humble
you know?
figurines, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoons of the
Yeah.
states. I've
Yeah.
seen people do that using the silver
Yeah.
spoons that they were collecting.
So, I mean, if you enjoy it and you don't mind, or it's not an objective to have that as an investment, then fine, do it. But if you have an investment, or if you have one of your objectives is to have it rise in value or safety, then don't do the coins.
Don't do the coins.
Yeah.
Do the bullions?
Bullion.
Bullion.
And we're talking about investment things
Yes.
here, so
Yes,
we're not
we're-
talking about collecting. So yes, do bullion.
Well, there's a factor of collection that most people have in their home. That is, there's these things like we said heirlooms earlier. So there's these things that have some kind of sentimental value, and they may have a cost value that I can in turn in for something that I want
Sure.
in my life.
I'm going to throw something in the mix.
Yeah,
Trade it.
trade it. Okay.
I have
Tell me
customers
about that.
that will liquidate the silver, the jewelry, and in turn get coins and bullion for it.
Yeah, but that's basically, you have to come to a dollar figure amount,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
this is what I want to pay you for this is what I want for this.
Right.
That's it.
And so if you want to say that's a trade, that's a trade, but they're trading it for something that's a little more compact. You may have a large box of
Yeah, they have a
sterling
trunk
jewelry or
Yeah.
something.
So
you
we're
know,
really
silver
trading
checks.
something. We're
Correct.
bringing in some
Yeah.
hard material,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
And you're getting back the same thing in a different form.
okay. Good. And so tell me about that style of trading. Is that a monthly, weekly, daily, or something that happens annually that we can actually do these things?
Well, it all depends upon how often you find stuff of grandmother's to get rid of. Usually when you do that, that happens maybe once in a lifetime when somebody passes and their estate's settled. So,
Right.
and they bring things in that there might be a chest of sterling, and
Right.
you say, all right, so, and you're still trading when you're selling
Mm-hmm.
because I'm giving you cash or giving you a check, giving you currency, whether you have any interest in turning that into other precious metals or not. So,
Okay. Good.
um,
So there's still some value towards that. Okay.
yeah.
So let's ask the two of you, how do we connect in this particular market with your customer base? So I'm flipping it around to being customer service centric, now to being to the actual business centric. How do you connect better with your customers?
Bruce, you want to go first, or?
I started doing phone calls.
Okay.
We've spoken a little bit about this. We know what business we're in, and believe it or not, we don't have to sell. We feel like we're in the people business all the time. Sometimes we're in logistics business.
Got to
And
track stuff down.
It's a lot to move around.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot to
I can
move
imagine.
around, and then sometimes it's financial, but we know where we are. We talked briefly, Katie and I and a couple of other at the office. What else can we do? What should we be doing? Well, we were used to doing 40 to, my most was 42 trade shows in 1 year. And we meet a lot of people. We have a lot of people all over the nation calling for one thing or another, wanting to sell or wanting to buy. So how do we stay in contact with them? Well, a road trip came up. Let's just take a road trip. Because you have to physically transport this stuff. It's not something virtual, and a lot of people require certain things when they're selling. So we're staying in contact with our customers. If we don't hear from them for a week, we call. We say, hey, what are you doing? How you doing? You know, how's your mom and them?
Yeah.
So
Let's get down to it.
I speak to Bruce, and almost once a day at least.
yeah,
It's when I don't hear from Bruce, or Bruce doesn't hear from me. It's real weird if it's like 3 days and we haven't spoken to each
Right.
other. You know, it's like you haven't spoken to your uncle or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, well, I've got customers like that.
Good.
Yeah.
So
I think Andre cheats on me some with Katie. Though.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I called one day. I said, "I'd like to speak to the boss." Bruce says, "Hold on. Which one?"
Yeah.
So you know, like if people call here, like I want to speak to. I said, well, Danielle's not here right now,
Yeah.
but I can help you.
Okay, help.
So I mean, but that's just a dynamic. And I've got customers that they call just to see what's going on in boots on the ground, as they like to say.
Yeah.
And in the last 6 months, I've had more interactions with people just for information. They just, these are regular customers, people I see sometimes twice a year maybe. And now they're like, hey, tell me what's going on. What should I expect? What's the vibe now? I mean, they're calling me week to week because television is one thing, but it's a completely different thing when you have a channel of information.
That's right.
So let's talk about some terms that are floating around, because it helps to get a baseline on some of these things that are going on. I'll throw the first term out, and you guys can interject terms at any point. So scrap metal. So what does that mean, and and how does that affect the buyer when we're looking at scrap?
I buy in a different way than
Okay.
Andre does, so let's take his from the public, okay?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Unfortunately, scrap is anything that is gold.
Okay.
Or
No,
silver.
or silver. Nobody likes to hear that terminology referred to their personal items, but the
Understood.
terminology is scrap.
Scrap, right.
You either have, you know, well, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a 5 carat diamond ring. It's still considered scrap.
Wow.
So it could be broken jewelry, damaged, things your grandmother liked. It's just out of vogue. It's
Yeah.
not pretty. It's not in style any longer.
Gotcha.
And it's sitting in that box on your chest of drawers, and you know
Been there for
it's-
10 years and
Yeah.
you've never worn it once. I get that a lot.
Yeah, it's time to go away, or it costs more to have the silver chain repaired or
Right.
necklace than,
Right.
than what it's worth. So that's scrap. That comes in from to our business from many different dealers, including Andre, and then we process it and ship to refiners.
Okay.
It's recycled.
It's recycled, more than likely. It is a metal.
It is.
And it's more than just so gold, silver, platinum, palladium.
Mhm.
Those are the major four.